Right.
Hi.
Welcome to the Faith by Podcast, Naomi Ackie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am awesome, even
All
more
good.
awesome because I saw this film, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Literally, I did not know Zoe Kravitz had this in her bag, and
Yeah,
to sort of watch the film, I was blown away. So,
thanks, man.
congratulations to her. Congratulations to
Yeah,
you. I
thank
actually want
you.
to start with Zoe Kravitz because
Mm,
she's obviously an actor.
mhm.
What is the difference between working with a director who's also been an actor
Yeah,
versus someone whose sole job it is to be a director, and how did
yeah.
that manifest itself on set?
I think the main thing is that if you're though I'm not a director of a
Mm,
thing, but like I can imagine that what it feels like to be an actor on a set.
mm,
I think a lot of people might think, and it depends. I have never felt extremely powerful on set. Like it's a space where you are literally being led,
yeah,
and you have between action and cut that's your time.
mhm,
Everything else belongs to everyone else, and rightly so.
mhm,
Um, and so I think what Zoe was able to understand was how important it is to intertwine us into the process.
okay,
You know, there
mhm,
was such a collaborative energy on set.
mhm,
She was so open. And it also meant that collaborative energy meant that when problems occur, which is so normal when it comes to filming, I mean, the
mhm,
whole thing is more or less a problem to solve,
right, mhm,
that you feel capable of offering up solutions.
mm,
It was a real team effort to
yeah,
get this film made. And yeah, I think that's why.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any particular conversation that felt memorable to you that you had on set, or were those conversations something that you didn't need to do, given the
Yeah.
fact that Zoe was an actor and she probably already understood it in your mind?
Oh man, there's one without giving anything away. I've said that so many times today. Without giving anything away, there was a conversation me and Zoe had maybe a week before we shot this particular scene where Frida is expressing her need to do or not do something
Mm,
within the film.
yeah, I think I know what
And,
you're talking
and we had talked about this thing and we were trying this scene over and over again and it just wasn't hitting.
Mm,
There wasn't the desperation needed, like that was needed.
mhm,
And Zoe has this incredible memory and she, this was just a conversation that we were just having. But she knew that in that moment, that conversation that we had a week ago
mm,
was useful for this moment. And she said, she held my hand and she was like, remember what we talked about last week? And I
mm.
just went, yes. I was like, thank you. Okay, go again. I've got this. And that was a take that you see in the film.
Amazing.
And so things like that,
Mm,
that ability to hold people's professional space and personal space and then see how those things overlap is an incredible skill to have.
yeah,
Mm,
amazing.
mm,
Um, so much of what I was very impressed by with this film, acting
mm.
wise, is just the facial expressions. Not just from you, but from
Yeah,
everyone. But
yeah,
there's a lot of close-ups on you, and there's a
yeah.
lot of emotions going through
A
your
lot of
face. A
emotions,
lot of
yeah.
emotions. How much of that is just you in the mirror practicing, and how much of that is you in the moment reacting?
Moment, always moment.
Mm.
If I looked in the mirror, oh god, I'd be so distracted by like my own insecurities and stuff like that I wouldn't get anything done.
Mm.
It's literally there's something magical that happens when a camera is very close to you
Mm.
because you know that you can't pretend. So you
Wow.
have one or two choices. You either like dig deep and figure out a way to make it work,
Mm.
or you pretend and if you can't convince yourself, you won't be able to convince other people.
Uh,
Um, so all of those things were happening in the moment, and I just love it. There's something so special about being in a space that is built for your performance.
mm. Yeah.
That allows you to immerse yourself, and then it becomes a very personal thing between you and the camera. So I actually really enjoy, weirdly, and not. Believe me, not for
Mm.
vanity. I really enjoy close-ups because
Mm.
there's an honesty that you can offer up to the camera that I really enjoy.
I love
Yeah.
that. As I was watching this movie, I just kept thinking to myself how rare it is.
Yeah.
Not only in how it talks about womanhood, but how it
Mm,
also centers Black womanhood.
yeah.
And obviously, as Frida, you are the focal point of that.
Yeah.
What is the message that you hope really resonates with audiences in that regard?
Yeah, I think there's this really interesting thing about this story and a few others that are coming and have been made already, which is like placing people of color, and in this case women of color, at the forefront, but it not being directly about race.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that blackness, or racialized people rather, is always and unfortunately it always will be politicized.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can look at any normal situation and you add race on top of it and it's a more complicated situation. What I really enjoyed about this, and what I can already see in Black women that I've talked to, is that there are parts of Frida that they feel particularly close to and seen by. And what's beautiful is when you have that layer there that is for people if they want to look into it, if they want to connect to it, and also this universal experience that a lot of people can. And I hope that happens. You know, like for me, it's like the biggest thing I want now out of my career is this variety, this thing that I can do and be, you know, like Amazing Grace, you know that book?
Yeah.
You know, I can be whatever I want to be. And with acting, that is the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And race should not limit that. My race, my gender, nothing should limit that. And I truly believe that in myself, and I want other people to believe that in themselves too, not even just about Blackness or womanhood, but in general. Because then when we have that, there's more connection and there's more conversation, and it doesn't have to be this like special thing anymore. It can just be the norm, and we can start talking about something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be so nice, wouldn't it?
That would be very good. It's my turn to say not to give anything away.
Yeah.
Because to your point about Black women, I just want to spotlight a certain line that you have in this movie
Hit me.
to Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Bitch, I tried. You know exactly where I'm going with this. Is that a day that you have circled in the calendar, like this scene? I'm really looking forward to it. And your line delivery, by the way, on that is just A++.
Thank you.
I fucking love it.
You know what's crazy is that when we did that, there's so much going on at the time you don't really like think about. But I watched it in the cinema in LA, and like people were whooping and going crazy. I was like, but the bitch I tried, man. Bitch, I tried.
You really did.
I think she did. Frida tried.
You really did. There's an idea in the film which I found very interesting of forgiveness versus forgetting.
Yeah.
And that made me think of a lot of conversations that I've had with colleagues in my industry, because unfortunately that's something that we deal a lot with in this industry. People who are cancelled for making really bad mistakes and who do give apologies and then emerge back onto the scene.
Like nothing happened.
And there's always these conversations like, is there an actual path to forgiveness? Should these people be allowed back in Hollywood again? So given sort of where we are in this film, where do you stand on all of that?
Accountability is an interesting thing. I think a part of accountability is not only being like, I acknowledge, but it's about giving something up. Forgiveness is interesting because it's good for your heart. But forgetting, no.
Yeah.
I don't forget. I mean, look, I think everyone is capable of change, and I think everyone should be given the opportunity to, but I also think it's grey. And I think we are in a space where people can say things, but what they're doing in the shadows is something very different, and we've seen that. Are we giving the tools? Have we learned as a society the tools to take responsibility for our actions? No, probably not. We're not there yet. And do we know ourselves enough to know when we are taking advantage of our own power? I don't think we know that yet. And for that is introspection is so important, because I could be pointing at, you did wrong, you did wrong, you did wrong. What am I doing wrong? And where am I not taking accountability? And I think that is something that we still lack. So until that happens, you can't forget. And definitely don't forget yourself. You must always be watching yourself. You've got to be your own parent, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. That's a beautiful answer. Thank you for that.
No worries.
There's a school of thought about Black Brits going overseas to find success.
Yeah.
And you are someone who's booking consistent roles as a Black Brit, but you're playing Americans.
Yeah,
So where do you stand on all of that?
I mean, for me, it's quite interesting. I've only played 2 Americans in my career, and most of them have been British. Um, I think that I stand on where the work is, I will go. And what I hope is for the same to happen in reverse. I think like the more that we put a cap on this and the more it becomes a conversation of like us versus them, it's kind of like it becomes a crabs in the barrel situation when rather we should be looking at the gatekeepers and being like, why don't we all have the same options and variety of opportunities? You know, like let's look up.
Yeah.
Who is making the decisions?
Yeah. That's always the question. Spike Lee said it best years ago, like we need more people in positions of power.
We need the gatekeepers. We need the gates open. And I guess, you know, like with films like this, with Zoe and gosh, so many, Jordan Peele, like there are so many like amazing Black creators, and I say Black because like, you know, I am, but I'm talking like in a whole, I'm talking about like people of color coming up and, you know, still being met with, it's tough. And there is still a glass ceiling, but there is more of us. And the more that this happens is the less that we have to fight for so effing little. Like this is like, you know, when I got this part, like I was like looking at the stars being like, how? You know, when Whitney happened, how? And I that lack of opportunity shouldn't be there. 100%. Put simply. I could talk about that for ages.
I need 10 more minutes.
Listen,
just add the time to my time.
Yeah.
I read an interview with you recently where you get this really interesting quote, and I've got it written down here. You said that when you were younger, you tried to fit into the industry by being the most vanilla person, but it didn't matter. And that stuck out to me because I felt similarly in my side of the industry and trying to come up. Was there a moment where you decided to be more of your authentic self? And when that happened, did you notice any changes?
Yeah, I mean, like it's been an unshedding. You know, I think there's like I started when I was in the film industry anyway. I started when I was about 24. And I'm not 24 anymore, let's put it that way. And I think like I've grown up. And so naturally you become more your authentic self and you lose that energy. Like I do not have the energy now to pretend that I'm okay if I'm not okay, or that I'm happy if I'm not happy. And that has been difficult, but what I have seen is that if not for anything else, when I am in the space, I can be more grounded. I can feel like I'm advocating for myself. And when I go home, I look in the mirror and I say, yeah, you're Naomi Ackie. That's who you are. And that's what we're dealing with, you know, and that honesty for self is so important. And in terms of work, you know, I think, you know, sometimes it works for you and sometimes it doesn't. I just got to get okay with that. Like, some people aren't going to be as happy with that. And that's also okay. But hopefully, you know, you hope that people will. Most of the time, it's just me being like someone asking, "Are you all right?" And going, "Nah, no, I'm not today. Actually, I'm just not." But that's okay. Let's carry on working.
I applaud that honestly. I'm going to take it in from my side.
Yeah, just be, man.
Naomi, to quote your movie, I had a really good time.
You did. Good.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. Thank you so much.